Alright guys, she's a couple days later. I kind of stopped where I was on the transmission. Had a little oops, and then I noticed something. I'm kind of glad for the oops because it's something that could potentially be a little bit rough. You don't really expect to come across it, but here we go. Let me show you. So, here's my oops. See that ear? See the cracking on it? Magically, well, it's a little shadowed, but the ear is cracked, guys. Let me get you in there. It's cracked around, and magically, amazingly, it did not drop the whole transmission onto the floor. So, that being said, I was going to send this case over to my buddy Dominic, who can TIG weld that up and then drill it out and plane it off, and it'd be just fine. But I talked to my customer, and he actually just said, how about I bring you another case? And you would think, well, just for that one little thing, come on. And first I was like, no, I'll fix it. But then on closer inspection, I noticed, see if you can zoom in on this or not. You see this little hole right here? It's actually quite a large hole in the casting. Now sometimes this happens during the casting process, and that hole probably will never ever cause an issue. It's just an air pocket is what it was. But it's right in the machine surface of the front pump. So I took a look at the depth of the O-ring on the pump. If it was below this, then I wouldn't care. But the O-ring sits right about here where my fingernail is. You can kind of see if you take the pump, there's the O-ring, and then you flip it over, that would bring this right up to just about there where my fingernail is. So with that, he said, how about I bring you another transmission? And I said, honestly, that would be the better deal. Instead of me having to gouge that out, put an aluminum epoxy in it. I mean, yeah, I could clean it up and make it look like it never happened and probably seal it up just fine. But I don't like that because that means there could be other issues with this case. So couple that with the broken ear, which I've never ever broken in my life. Now, I haven't built hundreds and hundreds of transmissions yet. I can tell you I have built a dozen at least, if not maybe up to 20. Probably more like 14, 15 to be modest. Different ones, 727s, 4L. No, I didn't do any 4L60s. I did 700R4. I've previously done two C6s. 48RE, the Dodge diesel version, for like 2007 and back. I've done the 47RE, the junior version. It was, or RH actually, it's a hydraulic version. And I've done the 46RE, which is just a beefed up 727 with overdrive. 518 overdrive. I did a nice beefy one for John for his truck, Problem Child, which as you can see, it performs pretty good. And I did that one 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, and that tranny's still running strong. It troubles me. Anyway, I've done a couple of caravan transmissions, that little 41TE or something it's called, or 604 is the normal name for it for the early models. But overall, I have always, like the guys that taught me, I've always hung them on a post on the bell housing off of ice to set up the gear train. Never had an issue, any transmission. Like, and same thing, the old C6s that I did the last two, hung them on the same dowel. This one here just decided to break. I'm just glad it didn't fall to the ground, crush my feet, or cause any damage to the transmission. But can't always win, so now what we're going to do is take See, what I'm doing with them is I'm actually building 2 transmissions. I'm not going to put you guys through the agony of watching me build 2 Ford C6s. But, and there's a possibility I'll be doing a third together because he has brought me. This is a C6 for a 351 Windsor 4x4 model. There's the transfer case for it right there. This is the 205 transfer case for the one that's on the bench. This right here is a C6 two-wheel drive, and that one is a C6 two-wheel drive. Both of them out of pickup trucks. Slight differences in them. I'm going to check the model years just because the differences in the cases. This one is more like the case that I have already. I'll probably be going with him. And, well, having said that, it's kind of crappy because I had other plans and other things to work on, but one job at a time here sometimes is the best way. So I'm going to get to tearing apart this guy, probably tear apart this guy, and I might even tear apart this guy as well. Reason why is I'm still looking for a thicker snap ring. So at first it was just to tear these apart to find the snap ring for the direct clutch, or reverse high clutch as it's called. But we have actually found some in the States. He's ordered them. I don't know when they'll be here though, and if we can find them in here and then keep on trucking, then all the better. So yeah, that's where it sits. Now, I guess what I'm going to say is, let's see how fast I can tear one of these things down. Like, I tore that one down pretty quick, but I bet you I can do it faster now that I'm a little more rehearsed in it. So I've got my pick over there, the guy I'm going to pull apart, because you saw the one with the striation lines. This one doesn't have it. This one's all smooth on the backside, so I'm going to go with the other case so I know everything else is going to match up, quote unquote, hopefully. And I'll run the numbers on the case with the striations because maybe it's a stronger unit to build, but I couldn't tell you. It could be an older model, and my kit's not for an older model, so I gotta pay a little bit of attention. Once I figure that out though, I'm going to set one up here on the bench, move the rest of the transmission gear aside, just slide her on down, plunk that transmission right here, and get to it. So in a couple of minutes, I'm going to set a timer, and we're going to see how quick I can tear apart a C6. Could be fun. Alright guys, transmission is ready to go, and we are going to set a timer, or a stopwatch. We're going to set a stopwatch. So here it is. I've got my tools out, but they're not prepped. I don't have my air hose ran or nothing. I'm in a slightly owly mood. I meant to get at this around 6:30 this evening, and it's now 10 o'clock at night. A few little things going on, so it's all dealt with, and I don't know, I might be a bit rammy or whatever. I'm not going to be pretty taking it apart because we just got to get it apart. So anyway, don't know how it's going to go. Follow along, and here we go. Start. So I should add, this video is basically, you saw the first video in the series was the mechanic taking it apart and explaining what he was doing while he was taking it apart. This one is when the mechanic is technically left alone and able to just work. So, I don't know, let's check it out. Alright guys, there we have it. "28 minutes and 11 seconds, and the transmission is disassembled right down to the last set of clutches. Everything is out. Pulled the pump apart, and case is ready to be cleaned and painted. And I found some good things inside this transmission. I found the thick snap ring we needed, possibly to make our clearance correct. But in noting, all of the clutches are really brand new. Nothing fought me. The band looks beautiful. It's near brand new as well. I would say this transmission was rebuilt maybe 5 years ago and wasn't used very much. So in reality, 28 minutes. I did actually a little bit more than my first video, and with being familiar with the first transmission, I was able to inspect some components as they were coming apart really quickly. Just you got an eyeball for what's weird and what's not. Now on this little ring here that you remember, it's a wear piece for this clutch return, piston return diaphragm. The ring, the split, it doesn't sit even anymore. I don't think that it I don't think it matters, but it's something to think about. There's a fair bit more wear inside this board than in the one that we were rebuilding. And this wafer's got a heck of a wear line on it. I'm not so sure about that. And it looks like it was sitting outside in the rust. I don't know if you can pick that up, but it's got like a rusted texture to it from maybe sitting in a damp shop for a while, not being used. I don't know. But again, the clutches and plates are in great shape. We've got the thicker snap ring. Goes to show that some people actually use them. And as you can see, I had a much quicker way now, after pulling this transmission apart and paying attention to everything the last time, had a much quicker way of pulling that rear clutch out, the reverse clutch. So now that's pulling it out. I still have to use the tool to put it back in and press everything together. But that's besides the point. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you like 28 minutes of tearing a transmission apart in under, I don't know, it's probably going to be like 4 minutes. Maybe 6. From David Dave's Glory Shopworks. Really appreciate you guys checking out the video. And, you know, sometimes stuff happens and you got to go further. That's part of hot rodding, man. It just seems like it's part of hot rodding almost every time. Alright, have yourselves a good night, guys and gals. We'll see you in the next one.